Good morning. One thing I really like about thumb drives, the technology behind it, it's pretty cool because you can store very important things on here and transfer them, things like that. So you just plug it in and it's really that simple. You can store all sorts of awesome stuff on these, really important stuff like banking info, secret passwords, and the meaning of life, things like that. The problem is that some of us have dogs and kids, and these things can literally just break. Just like that. Just like that. Really simply break. And then you pretty much think that there's no hope. What can you do when you break these? These things are so cheap these days, that they're not made terribly robust. And look right there, it's ripped the pad clean off of the board. So what can you do? Can you fix these things? Yep, you sure can. And I'm going to show you how to do that. What can you do when you break these? These things are so cheap these days, that they're not made terribly robust. And look right there, it's ripped the pad clean off of the board. So what can you do? Can you fix these things? Yep, you sure can. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So looking at this, just a quick tour of the board here. Couple components. There's not much on these. You've got a diode right here. That's a diode is a device, a part that basically lets power flow only one way. For instance, let's say this was a circuit board right here, and you've got your, like a laptop, and you got your battery, and you've got your power. It would let the power from the charger go through here to the board, and it would let the power for the battery go from here into the board. And depending on whether or not it's plugged in, it would decide which power source to use. And it would make it so that the battery power is not going back into the charger and whatnot. This is a capacitor. It's kind of like a little battery. That's a resistor. It kind of impedes certain flow through there. Another resistor up here. All these brown ones. Let me get a little focus. All of these brown ones are capacitors. R for resistor. Resistor, resistor, resistor. These are pads for resistors, but they're not used in this particular thumb drive. And if I'm not mistaken, this is what's called a 0 ohm resistor. I could be wrong on this one, but 0 ohm resistors are nothing more than fuses, basically. So you've got your positive and your negative, or vice versa. Then you've got your data lines here. So the question is, what do we do? Because if you notice, we still have really nice pads here and here. This is doable. Matter of fact, that is still attached, believe it or not. But these two have pulled completely off the board. So how can we go about getting stuff off of it? If I plug it in, you don't hear any noise whatsoever from the computer at all, because it doesn't know that there's anything there. On the back here, let me show you. This is this is the integrated circuit, or IC, and this is the controller, whereas this right here is your actual 16 gigabyte chip. This is the actual memory itself, and you can see how many connections it has soldered to this board. It's crazy. And then up here, you've got nothing. You've got a little scratch right here, but this is simply all ground. There's nothing here running power. This is all ground, just like all of this around here. All that's ground. And you notice that a lot of these right here and here and here are literally just all attached to ground. So you could literally cut this off and it should still work fine. All right, so going back to this, looking at it from the side, we show that that these are still attached. 3 of them are not. One of them is ground, so we could actually get away with not attaching this one, only these 2. So looking, you can see, if you notice that you've got these 2 pads here, these outside ones are ground. Excuse me, ground is here and positive is here. Okay, right. So this one is still attached, which is nice. If it wasn't, then we could attach it directly to right there. Okay? And then you got your data, and then you got your ground here. So the ground, it looks like it is it still attached? Not. Ground is out too. So, fixable. Totally fixable. So in lots of cases, I could get a new one of these to put on here. But just for the purposes of getting the data, getting our important text files off of this chip, this is where we would, what a mess. This is where we would go a different route, just to get your stuff off of here. All right, so stand by. Okay, looking at the back side of this, this is the trace for the number 2 pin, and that actually is still viable. So we might be able to get away with just soldering that back in here, and this right here, this is very, very small, was going there. So this is just a exercise and practice on how to do this. I've seen many that are much worse, but we're going to go with what we've got here. And yeah, it's not going to take much, I don't think, to get this going again. Yeah, there's a good angle right here. So basically, if you look, these are the 2 lines right here. One of is going, this one here is going to this one, this number 2, and this other one goes over the top and was going down to here, right? But it's back here. So we can't even use these 2 pads. We're going to use these 2 tracers that have been pulled off the board to fix this. All right, that one right there, actually, we're going to pretend that one's actually completely gone, because it's actually bent kind of there. It's kind of shot. It's got a crack in it right at that bend. So I'm going to take this one off completely, and then we'll see how to do it. Well, that's so small. Difficult. Okay, so I think maybe we'll do this slightly different just to show the practice of how we can do this. Okay, so looks like I got that. No, did I not? All right, let me get some different tweezers. These should work. Okay, so where this one here, there we go, you can kind of see where these traces go and how they're torn off. So I am going to break both of these off if I can. You know, you'd think I'd have better prep work here. All right. Okay, let me cut these off. Okay, I am cutting these off just to make it a little more difficult to fix, just as a matter of practice, to show how this is done. Okay, now we have two traces that are shot, completely torn off. This one on the top goes around to this one, and this one on the bottom goes to this one. So what we could do, we could just make like a little mark right here and put some solder on here, and then make a wire from here to here. But why, when we have both of these going to some resistors right here and here? You just follow the traces. So this one would go to here, and this one here goes to this one. So we will first attach, put a little bit of solder on there and see what we can do. All right, stand by. Okay, I've actually gone to single strands of the wire at this point because it was just too difficult to do with the full wire. You can see how tiny that is. It's a mess. I'm not really going to clean it up because I'm not saving the drive. We're just getting the data. So it doesn't have to be pretty, just functional. All right, so now we got this one here. Hopefully this one will be a little bit easier. There we go. Boy, that was quick, that one. Okay, so as we've already determined, this mess over here goes to this one here. This one here will go to this one here. The problem, though, is we don't want them touching. So I don't have any solder mask, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just going to do the best I can to make them not touch. So we can cut these off where we need to. All right, so that's right next to it, to that one. So we should be able to just dab a tiny little bit of solder on there from this angle. See that pad? That pad is what, there we go, good. That pad that was coming off is actually what was on the board before. All right, so going back to this one, we don't want it to cross too much, too close, I should say. So I'm going to kind of just run it over the top. You can't really tell, but Well, you can kind of tell, I guess. So we want this one to attach here. And I'm going to take a look just to make sure these aren't touching where they're not supposed to be in just a second here. Oh, look at that. All right, here we go. All right. Let's get a little solder on here. Steady hands, to say the least. All right, that'll do it. All right, so now I'm going to take, this is an idea of how big these are. I'm going to take these and kind of cut them just a little bit. Actually, I don't think I need to. All right. All right, so now the only thing that we are missing is this one on the end, because that one is still attached. These on the ends, by the way, these are just basically support. These are all ground anyway. Ground, ground, and ground. So we might even be able to get away without using this one completely. But just for the heck of it, I'm going to go ahead and run a wire to that. I already got these little tiny strands ready to go, so might as well. All right. You know, if you learn on small, tiny things like this, you'll find that the big things, like, you know, working on larger devices becomes absolutely a walk in the park. All right. Whoops. There we go. All right. It's not terribly strong, but it's attached. And then finally, actually, I think I'm just going to let it stick out and just go all the way to the end. Whoops, I just pulled it out. We'll fix that. All right. Let's try this once again. Always just be really, really patient. Okay. See what we're working with. There we go. Try to keep this on the screen here, but it's one thing I don't like about this microscope is it doesn't really have a very grippy bottom piece. Come on. All right. All right, and the last one doesn't want to hold in place. It's difficult. All right, there's that. And then the last bit of wire. Last bit is this wire right here. And relatively speaking, this is the easy one. Alright, so I kind of just jammed it underneath there, and I'm going to put a little bit of solder, and it should just clean it, get it attached real easy. Let's see. Done. Alright, so it's not pretty, but we got everything attached. Alright, so this is where we try to plug it back up. Fingers crossed. Okay, so this is where we see if we did a good job. So we're going to go ahead and plug this in. There we go. So using those 4 wires, or 3 actually, and a little bit of patience, we were able to get this up and going again and save the customer's data. If you liked this video, feel free to like and subscribe, as I do lots of things like this from time to time, and try to make videos that aren't boring. We'll get better as we go. Have a great day.